Good evening. Welcome to the user group meeting, Tableau user group meeting. First of all, thank you for Randstad and Lizzo for hosting us this beautiful event and with the food and everything with the hospitality and sharing your story. This is one of the special events when we join forces Data Plus Women with the Dutch user group. So today,
Can you next?
yes. So this is us. We join forces. Of course, the ladies are Data for Women, and the guys are the Dutch group, I guess.
That's weird. That's why I didn't.
That's kind of the idea, I guess.
Weird.
So Data Plus Women, we are not just only for women. We just gather together to give platform for ladies in data and to give a platform and to speak for us. And a couple of us, and also Kutar is a new member. It's great. It's her birthday, but
Hiding in the back.
the next slide. So today's speakers, we have Alina online from joining us from London. We have Lizzo here, and also Rick from Tableau. There you go. So the lady's gonna talk about the journey they had with the Tableau, and also data literacy, how they were fostering the community here, all the best practices and troubles, and how they were surviving and thriving in the same time. And then Rick is going to talk about the new hot stuff that is coming with Tableau in the latest edition. Later on, we're gonna have a Tableau quiz. You can, with Kahoot, you can gain and get some Tableau swag from us. And then networking. If you're interested, if you're a Tableau specialist, you want to share your work and talk about your specialty, or just email us, and we will be happy to have you as a speaker.
I just want to say that even if you want to talk about something that's not Tableau focused, but somehow data related, it's also always really interesting to hear. It can be something technical, it can be something.
Just
How-
on Power BI.
How I worked with my.
Leave Power BI out, but every data related,
We are a friendly bunch. So if you want to talk about your journey into data, it's also always very interesting to hear. So feel free to reach out. It can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes, practical workshop, whatever you want to showcase.
And also we
Very
always, so at this time, Lizzo and Randstad we are super grateful that they host us, but we are always struggling with the user groups. If your company have extra room or want to host a Tableau user group meeting, just please reach out. We will be super happy to have this collaboration. For Women's Day, International Women's Day, there's going to be a big virtual meeting. If you, with the QR code, if you scan it with your phone, it will bring you to the virtual meeting. Thank you and now Tristan.
Well, you said almost everything, so you just like. Yeah, there is not much to add. We have our email address, so NL Group, so you can just contact us if you want to speak. If you have a place to host this event, we are always happy. I think in the last event, we did something around more like the dev side of Tableau, extensions, APIs. Sometimes we look more in the design of Tableau. So it could be also a user group focused around how to design in Tableau. It can be more technical, it can be a story, whatever you think could work. We are happy to host and happy to have you present.
And also happy to help with the presentation if people need help, like to structure and prepare it.
And if you don't know, like we all work in different companies, what gather us together is Tableau, the love for data visualization. So, and of course, Tristan doesn't like to talk about himself, but you can check his website. He's awesome. His stuff is awesome. He's an Iron Beast winner, so he has really good stuff.
Yeah, the people better. Yeah, no,
Don't be so
Okay.
bad.
no, but that's not the point of today. But
The point of today is to hear about the interesting and exciting story of bringing Tableau to a wider organization and helping people to learn about it and learn how to use it better. So I will stop sharing my screen, and Alina now is going to start presenting her part of the story. So
Will do. Thank you, Anya. I just wanted to check. Should we do introductions ourselves, or what would be best?
And of course,
maybe if you want, you can present yourself. That might be a little bit better, because we talked about the that you're both coming from the Randstad, and maybe you can give more insight into the role you played in the process.
where did you start?
Absolutely, sounds good. I'll start sharing my screen as well.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. I always get placed on mute whenever I start presenting. So just to double check first that you can see the slide deck that says that introduces our talk. So Tableau Learning Path for Creators.
We can't see your slide.
Great. All right. Okay, well, it's great to actually be presenting at the event this evening. So we will be sharing with
Sorry,
you.
Alina, we can't see your screen.
You cannot?
No. It says that
Oh.
it started, but it's still not there. Maybe you can do it again.
Let me try again. How about now?
No.
Oh, how is this possible? We've just tested it. Okay, let me try a new option. Instead of sharing a tab, I will share a window. Maybe that will help. How about now?
No.
Oh dear. Well, in that case, I'm not sure what's going on, because I'm doing the same thing.
Let's maybe. Oh yeah. Here you go. Perfect. Yeah. That sounds
Okay.
perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. We're very excited to present to you our learnings from a pilot program that we run with a group of 21 participants on our first level of the Tableau Learning Pathways for Creators. So we will start the session by introducing you, first of all, to the overall learning pathway for Tableau creators at Randstad. I will provide more details about level 1, the Tableau specialist, which was part of the pilot program. And after that, Liesel will talk about what we've learned from the pilot program and how we've changed the learning pathway based on the participants' feedback. And at the end, of course, we'll dedicate some time for any questions from the audience. So before we jump into the content, I wanted to introduce you all to Randstad. Randstad is a global leader in the HR services industry. At Randstad, we help people secure jobs, either permanent or temporary roles, across a large variety of industries. And in 2022, we helped more than 2 million people find a job, and we advised over 230,000 clients on finding the right talent for their specific needs. Randstad was founded in the 1960s, and today you're actually attending this event in Randstad's headquarters. And since the 1960s, Randstad has grown across 5 continents and 38 countries. And on this slide here, you can see the different brands that are currently part of Randstad. If you are in the Netherlands, you might have actually seen branches for Randstad, the Tempo team, and Yacht brands. And of course, if you're joining us online, you may be familiar with some of the other brands. I will probably, this is the time to introduce myself a little bit. So my name is Alina Krista. I joined Randstad as analytics lead exactly 1 year ago. And same as Liesel, I am part of the global Tableau implementation team. Prior to this, I was a Tableau consultant as part of the professional services team for 4 years. Generally, I love working with data. I love working with Tableau. I'm really passionate about training and sharing my knowledge for using data to enable effective decision making and driving business value. And on a personal note, I live in the UK. I've been here for over 9 years, but I am originally from Romania. And outside of work, I spend a lot of time outdoors, especially playing tennis. So I'll let Lisa, actually, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself now. Would that be a good moment?
Cool. Can you hear me, Lena?
Yes.
And now? Yeah, that's better. Cool. So my name is Liesel Burkhardt. I'm responsible for enablement and community on the Tableau program at Randstad. So what that means is that I'm responsible for ensuring that everybody who touches Tableau in any shape or form, so it doesn't matter which role you have, a viewer or creator or site administrator, it's my role to ensure that you can work with Tableau effectively. So a lot of it involves also the training, putting those materials together. Then on the community side, I'm very passionate about this, and I'm creating those platforms and community initiatives where people can get together and learn more. And there, it's not just people new to Tableau, but also those who have used it for a while. It's really so that they can work together. And my personality is I always bring a bit of tongue-in-cheek fun to it, because I think we are much too serious in life. So there's always some kind of fun element in what we do. On a personal level, I am from South Africa, and there's 2 other South Africans here. It makes my heart beat. It's wonderful. But my husband and my 2 sons moved with me in September 2021. So it's about 18 months now. We live in The Hague, very close to the beach. So I've done 2 Nieuwjaarsduiken. So it's very cold. I won't say it's fun, but it's nice traditions that's happening. I love that. I love cycling, and I'm always near a cup of coffee. Cool. Thanks, Selena.
Thank you, Liesel. Okay, so today we are sharing our approach to enabling Tableau creators at Randstad that a lot more people have contributed towards. And on this slide, you can see the Randstad Tableau implementation team, the core team that has 4 members. So Niels is our manager and the global head of BI at Randstad. And Praveen, he's our global site administrator. And since the project started in 2021, we have worked with the Tableau professional services and customer success teams who are supporting us with new initiatives and day-to-day Tableau implementation and enablement activities. For the Learning Pathways program, we work very closely with the ProServe team to ensure our participants are receiving all the support that they need to complete their learning journey. So why did we decide to create a custom learning pathway for Tableau creators at Randstad? Well, here are the two main reasons that took us down this path. Number one, the diversity of skill sets at Randstad. And number two, the need for a clear personal development journey for learning Tableau. At Randstad, there is much diversity of skills and backgrounds, from users that are just starting to work with data to those experienced analysts who have been working in the BI field for 10 plus years. This learning pathway is our plan to train and enable anyone within Randstad to work with their data in Tableau, no matter of their background. Liesel and I want that our users attend relevant, focused, engaging training, and felt that the best way to do this was to cater for the different roles of our users at Randstad, from those core BI analysts to the light creators whose day-to-day job is in finance, HR, sales, marketing, rather than part of a BI team. And number two, a clear personal development journey. Now, as I think back to the time when I started learning Tableau, I remember two main activities that I was engaged with. First, I was watching free video tutorials from the Tableau website, mostly focused on learning how to analyze data in Tableau Desktop. Second, learning from the Tableau community, either by watching YouTube videos by Tableau visionaries or Tableau ambassadors, or by attending Tableau user group events or other data-related events such as this one. So for me, learning Tableau was a lot more than just learning a BI tool. It introduced me to the amazing Tableau community. And over the years, the community has offered so much learning opportunities and had a huge impact on my own learning journey. So our Tableau Creator Learning Pathway includes many Tableau community-related activities that are designed to complement the standard product learning curriculum. And we believe this provides each participant with a clear personal development journey so that they can follow to become a great analyst using Tableau. Now, the complete roadmap of the Creator Learning Pathway consists of 4 levels: specialist, professional, expert, and champion. Level 1 specialist is for anyone started their learning journey with Tableau. It is meant for beginners in Tableau, but also beginners in the field of data and analytics. Level 2 professional is for those that have learned the fundamentals of working with data in Tableau and are now looking to gain a deeper understanding of Tableau functionality or visual analytics best practices, and also how to practically apply those in Tableau. Level 3, expert. This is for the analysts that will spend the majority of their time analyzing data in Tableau as part of their core job at Randstad. Their expertise will include data preparation, data visualization, and designing efficient dashboards following best practices. And finally, level 4, the Tableau champion. Becoming a Tableau champion will place our creators in the position where they are recognized as a Tableau authority at Randstad. And champions are passionate about supporting others in getting started with Tableau by sharing their own expertise with others within Randstad. So now that you have an overview of the overall learning pathway, I'll dive deeper into level 1, the Tableau specialist. And our pilot program included only this level, the Tableau specialist level. So we launched this to a group of 21 participants, and some of them were completely new to Tableau. Others had prior Tableau experience. The total required time for the to complete the specialist level is approximately 67 hours. And we have split this across a 16-week period with approximately 4 hours of learning content every week. And the content is split into 7 categories, of which one is an extension exercise, which is actually not required to earn the lovely badge that you see on the top left of the screen. Basically, this is our Randstad Specialist e-badge. So the majority of the training is product specific, learning the fundamentals of analyzing data in Tableau, such as connecting to data, creating common types of visualizations, creating dashboards, sharing those dashboards with end users. However, we've also included Randstad specific training where we introduce our users to dashboard design principles and Tableau related tools that we have specifically designed for our creators at Randstad, with example from our own industry where relevant. The next category is the one that I'm most passionate about, the community related training. At Randstad, we have an internal community challenge. It's called Skill Up. And our participants, so those who participate in the Skill Up challenges, get to practice one chart type or one specific Tableau functionality at a time every month. We've also, of course, included many other resources from the Tableau community, including events such as this one that we are all part of today. Next category was very much in demand from our creator community at Randstad. So it's specific to Randstad, or creating data sources at Randstad. Next one, category number 4, we have our own Tableau specialist user group. And this is dedicated to anyone who's part of the specialist program. And we all come together once a month again to learn from each other. Category number 5, we have some knowledge checkpoints. And then this is followed by analysis best practices. And last but not least, number 7, that extension module for those who want to take the extra, want to have some extra practice. And this is actually an official certification provided by Tableau. So now that you know what the specialist level is about as part of the overall Tableau Creator Learning Pathway program, we'll go into the second part of today's session, where Liesel will talk about what we've learned from the pilot program and what we've changed to the specialist level based on the participants' feedback. Thank you. Liesel, back to you.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so let's take this one. Right. Sorry about that, almost there. Okay. Well, thanks, Alina. So my part today is to tell you about the learnings that we gained through implementing a pilot program before launching the program to the entire company. So the first learning is definitely adaptability. Adaptability is actually the golden thread that ran through the entire pilot program, because you absolutely have to be adaptable. That's the whole point of a pilot program. So we wanted to determine 3 things in this pilot. Firstly, we wanted to see whether the content was landing well with the audience. Was it actually relevant to them? Secondly, we wanted to make sure, or we wanted to determine whether the program logistics were easy enough for people to follow. That's really important, because what you think works doesn't necessarily land well. And then the last one was we wanted to determine whether the same program logistics was easy enough for us to manage in the background, because we're a very small team and we plan for this to scale. So we needed to understand what works and what doesn't work. So the way that we received the feedback was every second week we had feedback sessions with the 21 people on the pilot group, and we would get all their input, but they would also email us with, you know, if you get one question 10 times, then you know that you were not clear. So that also helped us to pivot and change things. So we used all this feedback to do 4 things. What it was, firstly, is we wanted to know what was not working. This is a typical stop, go, start. We wanted to find what the gaps were and then plug those. Next, if something was working or not, if something should stay, but we had to tweak it a little bit, we needed to know as well. And then obviously we wanted to keep what was working really well. So I'm going to tell you about 2 examples of where we absolutely had to be adaptable. So when Alina spoke now, she showed you the roadmap. That is the schedule where we divided it into time slots of 4 hours per week, and then suggested that they finish it in 16 weeks. Well, when they started, we realized actually on day 1, this is not going to work, because everybody is working at completely different paces. People have workloads, they have a personal life. Some people finished it in 9 weeks, other people are still finishing it, and that's absolutely okay. But our program didn't cater for that. The second one that we found was on the positive side is people heard about this and we were bombarded with requests to join. But because we had this rigid schedule or structure, we couldn't let anybody new join until the 3-month period is over. And obviously that did nothing for creating excitement. And also it would take us ages to actually onboard all the people, or the number of people that we want to onboard onto Tableau. So what we did is we had to sit down, stop, and really critically look at how our processes were working, and to come up with some solution. And what we then decided to do is to change a lot of our background processes and change us more into a DIY, a do-it-yourself process, whereby they can set themselves up and they can therefore complete this course at their own pace. So doing that background check that's a lot of work, because you have to critically look at all your processes. But once you've done that, then we could give them a do-it-yourself course. And what that's resulted in now, and we're really excited about that, is every single month we are now taking a new intake of fresh people. So we get together on a kickoff meeting once a month at the beginning of the month, and we explain the DIY approach to them, and as well as the self-paced approach. So having stopped and the ability to be adaptable, what that did was not just streamline our processes, but it also allowed us to launch globally much sooner than we actually planned to do that. Just one thing that's really important in terms of adaptability. Obviously, that's a vital part of a pilot program. but it does not mean that you have to cater to everybody's whim, because then you'll never stop. So what we did do is whenever things were getting a little bit tough and people were shouting to change things, we would keep thinking of these 3 points. What's our end goal? Does this change, will it still work towards that? We never wanted to compromise on quality. And lastly, if we bring in this new change, would it make it hard to scale? Would it be manual? So we kept on asking these questions because we knew if we stuck to that, then that change could take place. So yeah, adaptability, definitely our first learning curve. The next one is, although it was really exciting, launching it globally, that obviously brought a whole extra set of complications. As you can see here, we've got 119 specialists now, but they really are all over the world. And 2 things really hit us immediately was the time zones, and then also just the scale of having more people on board. So I'm going to talk about the time zones first. So APAC, we didn't have much demand up until the point that we launched global. But when we launched specialist, the change was immediate. And suddenly we had 28 people from APAC who wanted to be on calls. And Tokyo, I think Tokyo is actually 12 hours. It's insane. So suddenly we were faced with the fact that we had to double our amount of training courses, and we had to actually present them at odd hours of the day. So again, we needed to sit back and decide how we were going to change. And what that did was we had another program that we wanted to implement a little bit later called the Tableau Evangelist Program. Some people call it the Tableau Champions Program. But the bottom line is what that program intends to do is to headhunt people who are really passionate and enthusiastic about Tableau, and then empower them in such a way that they can do what we do in their country. We call it an OPCO. In their country, they could then do that. And that's really what we now have to do. We've had to bring this up in our list of priorities. We're going to work at it later, but now because we're global, we actually really have to work on that. And thinking about it, for example, Japan now, we've now got quite a few from Japan. If we do have a Tableau evangelist in Japan, I think that they probably would be more successful than we are because they've got the culture fit. They can speak the language and they know what their people want. So we had to change and make that particular change. Next was managing the scale itself. So when you go global, suddenly you get this influx of demand and you actually cannot cope with the size of the team that we have if you do it manually. So we were forced to sit down and take all of the actions that we take when somebody is onboarded and critically look at it and say, and this especially Niels kept on saying to me, Liesel, scale. So what can we automate? So one of the things, for example, that we've done is we've created a Google group for this specialist group itself. And what we want to do now, and as we're busy in that process, is as somebody gets added, it needs to be this Google group is the trigger that will then create the Tableau license that will add them to the Google space for specialists, and that will send out all the emails for the user group, because that completely releases us. So although it's a lot of work in the background, once you've put that in place, then you can handle the scale. Then it's not a problem when you see all these numbers increasing. Are we finished automating yet? No, not at all. I think we'll always find something more to automate, but we're definitely on that track. The next one is monitoring. So monitoring the engagement of your program is incredibly important because if they're not using it, you need to find out why that is. It sounds so simple, but often we put things live. I think, people, everybody, you put things live and you just go, yes, okay, it's live. And then you walk away and you go on to the next thing. You actually can't do it. If you think that 100 people join and all 100 of them are going to finish in 16 weeks, it's not going to happen. That's just not the reality. So we needed to go and look at how can we monitor to really know what our people are doing. So it went through a lot of iterations. First, we looked at the participation through their e-learning participation. So we then looked at the data, but found that, yes, we can see they joined and that they finished, but we have no idea whether they actually took in any of the content, whether they actually understood what they're doing. Sometimes we even saw that people stayed on a particular topic for 5 seconds, where it's like a 4-hour piece of learning. So you know that nothing went in there. And we also then didn't know whether they actually did take part in any of the Randstad related modules, which is really important for us because, you know, for example, we've got a template. We want you to know how to use the template. So then we thought, okay, let's try something else. So our second iteration was we created a laborious Google sheet called the Progress Tracker. And we listed all the modules that's on that. You saw that little pathway that Alina showed you. And asked each participant to tick or move to yes as they do it. But half of them didn't do it. And that didn't mean that they weren't doing the pathway. It's just like, don't give me all this manual stuff to do. That's, you know, it's just not working. What we did do is we took that data and then merged it or joined it with the e-learning. So we had a bit more insight. But then we realized again, we had to stop and think what is really important here. What do we want? What is the end goal? We want people who can use Tableau. And secondly, we don't want to compromise on quality. We're not interested in having 1,000 people who have just done, or, you know, who have badges, but those badges don't mean anything. So what we did is we created 4 checkpoints that Alina also spoke about, 2 quizzes and 2 assessments. And what we decided on the 3rd iteration is if you pass those assessments, regardless of whether you did all the other things, if you pass those, and they're quite hard, then we know you can use Tableau up to the level of what specialist is required, and then you get your badge. So going through this painful process really taught us that it's about the quality and also making it easy for your people. And yeah, this was priceless. It was very painful, but it was a very good learning. And then learning number 4. So Alina and I knew from the very beginning that we were not going to kill people using emails. It was just not going to be an option. We didn't want to do that. So what we did want is a single platform where we can store information and make it available, but also it needs to be a platform where people can easily find it. It's painful when you go onto an intranet site and you type words and people just can't find anything. The second thing that we wanted was a space that really encouraged two-way communication because it's engagement that we were after. So what we did to that point is we created our intranet site, which is a one-stop shop. And we've got an easy landing page where on the front page, you can just click and go straight to what you need. Initially, so the first iteration was we only had that top bar. So then when we spoke to people, they said, okay, that's great. There's so much information, but I don't know where to find it. So that's why we created the landing page. Secondly, we created on that same portal, we created 2 channels. One is Tableau News and Events. That's where we keep everybody informed. And there's another one called Ask Me Anything. This is where we let the users ask any Tableau question that they have. And then there's a group of us answering those. And as we spoke to everybody, what they were saying is that the intranet page was really working. They knew that they could find what they needed there quite easily, and that's important. But what wasn't working is they weren't enjoying being on a channel that is outside of where they work. So not in the Google Gmail environment, because they have to go there and they have to set up settings to make sure they don't miss anything. So what we decided to do then is to create a Google space, especially for the specialists. Just so you know, I chatted to all these people and they're happy for their names to be on there. And this has really helped. We are seeing great engagement. There's constant two-way communication. It's a great way for us, or great place for us to communicate what's going on, reminders. But what I love to see now is I often see people in this community answering each other. Before we can even get to it, they are starting to answer each other. And that is what you're after, because that really is the engagement. So that was the fourth one. So the 4 learnings that we made, firstly, was to be adaptable all the time. Secondly, be ready for scale, because it's going to come. So plan for it. We had to do it while we were on the bike. We were still building the bike, but plan for the scale. Secondly, monitor, 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 because you want to know whether people are truly liking what they're seeing. And the last one is to communicate where your people are, what works for them. Don't just think you know what works, find out what works for people. Okay. So I've been asked, would we do a pilot program again? And I hope I can get there. No, you can't go there. Yes, we would definitely do it again. We just found that we've learned so much, and people also, when they feel part of a process, you know, they sort of, I don't want to say loyal, but they definitely buy into what you're doing if they can see that you're taking on board what they are saying. So with this, I'd like to thank everybody who was part of it. I'm just trying to see. No, there's no one here today, but I think maybe Adriano is online, because he's from Brazil and he's always online. So we really want to thank them. It's been great. They've helped us. And we would do this. For me, for example, we're busy building the evangelist program, like I said, and I'm definitely running a pilot program with, in that case, it will be with one person, but we're definitely going to do it. So with that, we hope that we've given you some tangible examples of how a pilot program can help you. And yeah, if you've got any questions, you can throw them to, are we going to do the questions at the end?
No,
Is it now? Is it now? Okay, cool. Okay, so feel free to ask any questions.
I'm very curious how a recruitment company recruited 21 people for the pilot.
Well, you know what, as you're working, so I'm also part of the team who implements Tableau. So as you're working, you see people who have a passion for it. It's almost like they put their hands up themselves. And we saw that all over the show in all the different opcos. What we did first is we went to managers and we presented what the pilot program is first. And then we gave them names of people that we thought should be involved. And they would then say yay or nay, depending on workload or whatever. So it was really canvassing, but some of the people just, you could see that they are the right people to do it. Yeah. Does that help?
No,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Why would a recruitment company be interested in Tableau, like are you a client, or are you like the business client of Tableau, or like is Randstad the official partner? Or
No. So we have purchased products from Tableau to implement in our company. So we are training our people on how to use Tableau so that we can take our data in Randstad and create the visualizations from it, and then obviously get the insight from it so that we can run our business better. Yes, for the analytics in our company. But we are actually now taking it one step further. The next thing that we've been asked from business is that they actually want to create dashboards that they can share with their clients. So external analytics, that is obviously a next step. And that,
right?
hey?
The next step is embedded.
Yes, yeah. 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 That's actually a good point. So we chose to go with Tableau Online or Tableau Cloud. Sure. Cloud, not server.
They always change the name.
Yeah, I know. Like CRM's analytics.
I have a question. How long roughly did it take from the idea, oh, we need to do something like that, to actually finishing the first version of the pilot? Let's
Okay.
take it. The development of the content itself.
Yeah. I'm going to let Alina, because she did most of the development of the content, so I'll let her answer that one. Alina?
Thank you. So,
We
how
can't
am I
hear you.
going to-
Oh, there we go.
It's hard to say, although I can probably take a look at my time tracker and come up with a more accurate number. But as an estimate, it took about maybe four weeks, I would say. For 40 hours, 4 weeks. So about 160 hours to get to delivering the pilot program. And then from there, we made more changes. So I'm going to go with that estimate. But it took a lot of time, honestly. So it wasn't as much the development of the content itself, it was the refinement and constant updates. And because our goal is that this is a do-it-yourself type of program, then we had to set in place a whole bunch of things, to automate a couple of things to make sure that people can do this by themselves. And that's what took a lot of time as well. So I would say the development of the content of the specialist program, maybe half the time. Half of it was the admin of it. And not to count probably Liesel's time on communicating about the program itself. But overall, a lot of time, I would say. On my end, about 160 hours, I'd say.
Can I talk now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the question was, how much did we use metrics and how much did we use the soft feedback, right? It was really a combination of it. It was a real combination because we would look, like I said, we started at the e-learning content, we looked at the data and we're like, okay, this doesn't really tell me. And then we would have a feedback session and say, okay, Adriano, I can see this, but what did you actually do? Was this a real reflection of what you did? And then we realized we can trust some of the data in the e-learning data source, but some of it not. And then we took, like I said, the progress tracker, but then some people updated it, some not. So then you have to scale it down to say, okay, let's look at what the people who did complete it do compared to those who didn't. So some of our monitoring is, for example, also who are engaged. We can see based on e-learning as well as on how they're using the dashboard. How engaged they are, and we can also say, okay, this person hasn't been in any of what is the specialist for 4 weeks. Then we reach out. Is there something we can do? And often, like we do that, then we reach out to them and say, look, I'm knee deep in a Snowflake implementation. I really, that's why. There's always a reason, but it was really a combination. So the data would tell us something. We had to have a conversation. Sometimes the data was irrelevant. Sometimes it was relevant. But it was a combination of both.
Question is maybe follow up on what I asked. So how long has it been running for? Especially because we were talking about adaptability and flexibility.
Yeah.
When do you decide on Randstad to finish my pilot and analyze it basically?
So we rolled this out. Well, we met the managers on the 24th of October, and a week later, we then started the program. I can't remember, I think it was the 3rd or the 4th. And it was in, I think, the beginning of January that we realized that just doing this 3 months at a time was simply not going to work. So we worked really hard in January to make a DIY. We communicated with those who were on our waiting list to say, it's coming, it's coming. But yeah, it was basically 2 months until we realize, we're going to have to make a change and get more people on board.
Can I ask one question? Yeah.
You're the gatekeeper.
I was also wondering how to keep maybe the landing page that you have, because I can imagine that you have lots of interactions on there, maybe recurring ones that would become hot topics that most people would look up on the landing page that you have. Is that something you're doing now?
You mean the Google group for these people?
Yeah,
I
because
don't
you
understand.
create a Google group so that people could ask questions there and.
Well, a Google Space.
Google
Yes.
Space.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. How are you taking information from there to keep the landing page perhaps or?
Okay, cool. So if there's something on there that we want to share with everybody, then we put it on Tableau News and Events, which is on the intranet page. So we would put that information on there. But there are actually more people in those Google spaces. We've got different ones. We've got a Google space for specialists, then we've got a Google space for the Skill Up group, because not everybody in Skill Up is actually in the specialist program. So we do communicate on all of those spaces, but what we want other people to also know, we then put on our Tableau News and Events channel.
I just want to share that Alina checked her calendar and she said that she logged about 125 hours on development of content.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the admin starts.
Yeah.
The admin, so if you, I would say easily 200. Yeah, we're hoping that will really go down with the automation that we're busy doing, because you can't do that. Cool.
How do you keep the buzz? How do you keep the ball rolling? I'm literally in your shoes now, in my company. And, we start and everybody's getting excited, but it's fizzled away. So how you keep it, that, okay, they want to learn more and they want to go further, they want to go deeper. How do you?
And they're also different levels, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like hackathons or some events or like this user group meeting. How do you keep the ball rolling?
So what we try and do is we try and attack them from all sides. So we don't just want one thing so just a user group. So we've got Skill Up, which is that monthly challenge. And in that monthly challenge, the challenge always has one simple challenge, and then there are extension ones so that everybody can join it, so that it's not just a group so it's very similar to Workout Wednesday and Monday. Makeover Monday. It's that type of setup. So we cater for all of them, but then we started a book club, because what's really important is to realize that your company is probably not at the level of data literacy that you want them to be, or that you think they are. Some people don't get involved in the data because they think it's just something for techies. So I'm not starting it because I'm going to be embarrassed. So we created the book club so that it's a safe space where people can just grab their cup of coffee, come and spend 45 minutes listening to someone talk about a book in the data and analytics sphere. So that's also a very different, that's a more fluffy type of community initiative. And then we've got others where they're really technical. We've got something called Tableau Office Hours. That's where we ask. So most of what we do is we give them the content and tell them there's training courses on it. What Tableau Office Hours is different for is they tell us what they want to learn more about. So they pick the topics, and then poor Alina goes back and she creates content, and then we have that Tableau Office Hours session. So I think you've got to play with different types of initiatives, because one is not going to fit the entire organization.
If all of those things are nice, but if there's no one to drive that, then you lose the buzz, right? So,
And Alina as well.
Yeah.
and then as well, possible for the enablement part, keeping all those groups alive, making sure questions get answered, there's new content or whatever it might be. But this today is this, next year it's something else.
You
Someone
need a
responsible.
face.
Yeah, you need someone's responsible. It's like part of your 2 hours you have left on a Friday afternoon, then you will do
Yeah, and you also don't have to come up with all the ideas. So one of the things I saw the other day is, I can't remember who it was in the community, but they communicated a stack of data and analytics books. It was something to do with Neil Richards. It was a whole stack of books, and they said, pick one of these books, it'll be great. So I took that and did it on Valentine's Day and said, do you love data? Read one of these books. And then underneath it is, come join us at the book club. So you don't have to come up with everything. The community is there to help you to also get the ideas, because
Make it fun, right?
yeah.
Do we have a question online?
No.
So it's not a question, but since you were asking for ideas, Timea, and I think maybe that can help you out. But I did in the past, it's not scalable, but when I used to walk around the office and then see what people would have built, they would come with a question, and I would find out, okay, you fixed the problem yourself, which is very cool. For me, not because I'm an expert, but for your colleagues, it's awesome. So, come to the next meeting or lunch or whatever, and then present. There used to be an event called Tableau Time Talks.
Yeah.
Alina may know about it, because she used to organize it.
Yeah.
And then they would do that, presentations of 5 minutes, where it's very quickly and you don't have to prepare really that much, but then you're able to add something to the community. And it helps to do the return on the community. The people answering already answering questions for you guys. But then having something like that. Getting so far that the own analysts are proud of the work and want to share a small issue that they fixed.
Yeah, we definitely, we don't do enough of that. We do it. So for example, in Skill Up, we ask people to be brave, and in that feedback session to come and show what they built. And you'll be amazed how few people say yes. So I'm going to pick on Renee. So Renee was at our last Skill Up, and she presented her dashboard, which was a masterpiece of storytelling. It was really lovely. But then we award them with swag. It's not like you're bribing them, but it's it's exciting. We all like something nice. And then it's amazing. In a previous one, I think we were in I can't remember which Skill Up, and I then announced, okay, so let's say Bob has just won a notepad, sent the photo, and I got messages of people, hey, I presented 2 months ago. So it means something. And for me, that's good, because you want to keep people excited. And you've got to actually do small things, exactly to your point. Small things actually count for a lot.
Thank you.
I think,
Cool. Thanks, Alina. Good.
Thanks, everyone.
Hearing about what's new in Tableau.
I'm gonna leave the webinar. Hey?
No, this is going to do something now.
Yes.
So you can.
Then I can pass.
Perfect. Okay, so welcome all, and thanks for a very inspiring story from Randstad. I think that's a topic that's very actual for a lot of customers, because creating the community is eventually what brings this product to a real success. I'm going to do the other way around. I'm just going to tell about the product, so I have an easy job tonight. So let's see if I can keep that momentum going. Now today I have the opportunity to present around the last year of Tableau. I always like to do this. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the updates that have been happening and the things that you shouldn't have missed. because I think those basically imply what is the direction of Tableau, what are the things that you should be playing around with to get the most out of the product that we have. So who am I? Well, I'm Rick Meijvogel, and I'm a lead solution engineer at Tableau, is what they call it. Basically, I support the account managers when going to customers to, when they don't know the answers anymore because it gets too technical, then I come in and I have to explain it. I've always been working at Microsoft before, so I have a lot of experience with Power BI as well. And now I'm a year into Tableau, and I have to say it's a good product. So let's see what they actually made of it this year. I always try my best, but I'm quite honest. We call it Dutch directness. So yeah, I'm not gonna be American presenter over here. So let's take a look at what we're going to do. Well, basically, we're going through all of them. I'm going to go quite fast because some of them are really small, but I always like to present them in a way that, what is it going to be for you? Okay, this is just to impress you, like we did good work. That's about it. Now, let's just take a look at some of them. We're going to dive into it. It's going to be fast and it's going to be quick. What I like about this one, the new Viz toolbar, is basically two things. First thing is they finally noticed that they need to improve something about the UI. So that's a very good thing. Hopefully they will continue this year because in my opinion, they can definitely score in that department. Tableau has had the same UI for over a while now, and it's a little dated. It does have a lot of things and it works, but knowing where to find it can be a challenge for people like me who had to start working with Tableau, because I really like the features in Tableau, but having to find them, sometimes it's a bit of a hassle, is my personal opinion. So seeing that they actually change it is, for me, a step in the right direction. The other thing is the data acceleration feature. The data acceleration feature, for the ones unaware, is a feature where you can basically make sure that your dashboards load faster. So if you have a dashboard that is on an extract, it works best on extracts in this case, you can basically let it be cached after the extract has happened so that the first time opening is faster. Of course, when row level security is applied, it gets more challenging, but it can be a promising feature for the dashboards if you want a quick win on your performance. Another thing is the web parity. This has been one of the things. I already told you I come from a competitor. For me, it's kind of stressful that we don't have web parity. So right now, our focus from Salesforce Tableau is really on Tableau Cloud, but at the same time, the parity between Tableau Desktop and Tableau Cloud is, for me, it's frustrating if I build reports. Let's put it that way. There's features in Tableau Cloud that are not in desktop. There's features that I love in Tableau Desktop that are not in Tableau Cloud. So for me, promising that they're actually working on it. It's basically on every release. So I'm not going to put it back in 3 or 2, 3, and 4 because they're just working on it continuously. So for me, definitely very important. And I guess for you, if you build reports as well. Do you guys use Tableau Cloud for building or mostly Tableau Desktop?
For the reason.
Yeah. But how do you manage layout? Because lastly, I had a real challenge where I wanted to do layout. And I think doing layout and managing your layout is way easier in Tableau Cloud. Because there you can actually, you have the tree map of how your layout is handled with all your containers and such, and you can easily rearrange them. And that's not possible in Tableau Desktop.
So the way that we do it is Alina built templates.
Yeah.
They already have the containers in them. They've got all the structures, the legends, the filters, everything is pre-built. And then she builds the dashboard starters.
Yeah.
So it's actually like
Yeah, I worked around it by just using both and using both best worlds. The view data, for the ones who missed it, the view data customization has been enlarged. If you ever get this question from your Excel users that say, how can I get this data from a dashboard into my Excel? This is the answer. So if you've missed it, easy answer for all those pesky Excel users you still have in your organization. Workbook Optimizer. Well, is there anyone who used this already? Nice. Then perhaps I'm still going to show it. Now, sorry for you, nothing new, but for some of us, we will see something new. That's the wrong one, I guess. No, that's this one. And can I lose this? Yeah. So let's go to edit. This is a beautiful dashboard. It looks pretty neat. Everyone knows Superstore, but as the name already implies, this is unoptimized. So the moment I go to publish as, then basically we're going to see all the things that are wrong with it. So I can take this one. Take action, we have 3 points, needs review 4 points, and basically 10 checks have passed. So yeah, take action is most important. And we can see that we have unused data sources, unused fields, and some non-materialized calculations. I really like this function because it does give people, and especially the people, you guys are here, you're interested, you have an intrinsic motivation to learn about Tableau, but there's a lot of people in your organization that don't have that much time or expertise yet. And they will quickly bloat your Tableau server or your Tableau cloud environment with less optimized workbooks most of the times. And learning them about this function can definitely help them, guiding them in the right directions of what are some rules they should generically follow. So if we open this one, for example, it will also show me, I think somewhere in here, that it should say that it has 17. Oh, I don't see it anymore. But that it has 17 data sources or such that weren't used. Oh no, there's 3 data sources that aren't used. That's how far my preparation goes. So yeah, this is basically the Tableau workbook optimizer. No, a Tableau desktop and on your Tableau cloud environment. But it's also available right before you publish to your Tableau server. Then you can select workbook optimizer as well. Catalog. This is the feature that I truly love about Tableau, because now we're getting somewhere that's the competition doesn't have. Tableau catalog is really powerful for creating lineage, keeping in control, and having a certain governance around your report environment. So truly where Tableau shines is report lifecycle management is what I always say, and governance is one of those. And Tableau catalog is definitely, what really shines for me is the way you can do impact analysis, and not just impact analysis because there's more functions coming. You also have the data quality warnings and such that are right now just for your vcons. There's also, it's actually coming to also have it on column level. So that's actually pretty neat. Right now it's just on table level and it's coming to be on column level as well. So you have more granular control over what fields are actually usable and what fields aren't yet. Yes, that's the short answer. Yeah. Yeah, that's just totally separate from data catalog, luckily. But yeah, vcons is challenging. Let's put it that way. The concept of vcons is really promising, and I like the idea. But like you mentioned, the implementation is not a 10 yet. Let's put it that way. Linked tasks. So yeah, I think most of you will know, but what is quite interesting, if you didn't know, then it's a quick win, because now you can actually link your schedules together so that you have more easy scheduling if you use the Tableau schedules a lot. So first is report, then the other ones and such, those type of things. And that's the first quarter already. So as you can see, you have to pay attention. I could lie and say that this is actually all in the quiz that's coming, so you have an incentive to follow, but that's not true. So let's just see. Yeah, just a few functions again. I'm not going to do all of them. Data story. I think this is the one that most of you have seen. Is there anyone who hasn't worked with it yet? Cool. Data story, for me, I really like it. I've been in visualization for a while. And it's a totally, basically it's a circle of visualization, I'd say, because we start from text in some CSV somewhere. We analyze it, we created cool visualization in the form of bar charts. And suddenly a CEO says, well, I'm still too lazy to interpret this graph. Can we please have it in text again? Well, and that's the point where data stories come in for me, because that way we can actually have descriptive analysis around what's happening on your report. And for me, I really like this feature. I was already used to it, but seeing the Tableau implementation is really promising as well. So what does it do? I think, oh no, this is actually, that's another improvement, that we actually have it on all data sources now. And let's see if I can show it. I think I've passed this one. So yeah, here we have one. And basically we have a simple dashboard and we do have a summary. This summary is created from such a data story. It's just readable text. It's in bullets. You can either choose for bullets or you can make it into a paragraph. You can customize it fully because it's just going to do some correlations on your data and it's going to suggest what points it's find. I could say, for example, that some of these I'm not really interested in. And of course, I should be in edit mode to do that. So let's just quickly do so. Yeah. And now I can basically say, I want this one to edit, and I get a lot of options. So here you can see these are the things that he found, and I can basically say these correlations are interesting or aren't. And I can also add some comments myself to also be included. So overall, quite a high customizability and quite a powerful feature to have on your overview pages that can truly help you for doing what Tableau is known for, only guided analytics. So
what's nice about that is you can also share and hide it in a container. So if somebody clicks on something, that's quite
yeah, that's pretty cool indeed, those kind of tricks. Yeah, I'm not going to show in order of time how it's made. It's actually made quite simple, I'd say, because if you just drag it in, you'll basically get a wizard that will help you, and you just select a sheet, and based on that sheet, it's going to do the analysis and come back with the text that's presented here. Yeah, another quality of life, just very simple, but very welcome in my opinion. I think everyone has that uses Tableau Cloud has experienced one day or another that you went for coffee, you went a bit too long and the session was expired and you could not save your workbook anymore. Pretty frustrating. So right now you can basically see, and that's over here, that there has been a draft that you can actually continue or and then publish again, or you can just delete it because it was nonsense. And after your coffee break, you actually had a real insight of how it should be done. Vcons, we're continuing to upgrading, so that's the good news. It's also in the new updaters probably coming finally, that you can either have Vcons with multiple tables where some tables are actually extracts and some are live. Another, for me, welcome improvement, because that does help with the usability of it. In this case, just revision history. Again, report lifecycle management is what I think the Tableau platform is pretty mature about. I really like the native revision history, and seeing that Vcons are also added to it is just a good thing. This was another improvement, finally being able to see what is the data that is filtered if you're a certain user. Just a simple thing, but definitely helps. And then another catalog improvement. I lied and said I'm not going to show all of them. I forgot to hide this slide. Now, Ask Data Lens. Everyone that probably has worked with Ask Data by now, and you need a lens for it. And the lenses were not included in your lineage tracking. So now you can actually see those as well. And that's already the first half of the year. So let's take a look at the third quarter. Again, just showing that it's quite a bit and nothing to be scared of. The data guide. Who has worked with the data guide already? Cool. Finally, I tell something new. Now, the data guide is there, and this is also a Tableau data management add-on functionality. What does it do? It's basically going to tell you like what are the fields used in a certain workbook. And it's going to include all the descriptions. It's going to include all the warnings on a data set that has been used in such a workbook. So it's going to give you quite a brief quick glance of how trustworthy is what I'm seeing in this dashboard. And it's also going to help you if you have, for example, measures created and you have descriptions in there. You can just open them and basically see what's the calculation or what's the definition of such a thing. So what am I looking at? If configured correctly, that's always the challenge, I guess. It can definitely reduce the questions you're getting if you're a report creator of how a certain calculation has been done. So data guide is quite nice. It also comes with the outliers. So this is basically the explain data functionality that is pretty cool. Sometimes usable, sometimes it isn't. Just be careful with it. It's very neat for my work because I have to demo a lot, and then you have prepared data sets. If you use real life data sets, the results can vary. So use it at your own risk. What is a cool function is the data change radar. The data change radar is going to give warnings based on your data. So what it does is it's going to look at your top reports used. It's going to look at what's the average for certain KPIs in there. And once it has an anomaly on that one, it's going to give a warning. And this is for me where it becomes quite nice. And I say quite nice because I like the vision. Because with data change, we're basically, taking away some of the works where previously you had to use alerts. Now you actually have something that does it automatically for it or for you. And then we have the data-driven zone visibility. What happens here is that you can dynamically show and hide your dashboard zones. So not just having the containers, but having defined zones for it that you can change on the fly. And as you can see here, he's just interacting with a certain visual, and the graph in the bottom left is actually changing. So another thing where, you as a report creator basically get another handy tool set to improve your guided analytics, in which I think Tableau is still unbeatable. And then we're at table extensions. And you've used them? Our thing already. You're the experts.
No, these texts.
Okay. Then I'm going to demo them. Now, table extensions. I think the flexibility behind it is quite high. What does it do? It enables you to use, for example, R or Python to create tables. But not just tables, you can also just use them for having, how do you say, some models on your data quite easily involved in there. This functionality is, it is quite techy, and it does use some prerequisites because you have to make sure that you're pointing to the correct engine, that your libraries are in order. But if your libraries are in order, the result can be quite powerful, and then it looks really easy. So I'm going to try and make it look really easy. And this is always a risk, of course, because now I have the possibility to lose all credibility tonight. So let's see. I'm just going to connect to a text file and see if I can find it. That's another challenge. And then I say, that's the wrong one. I just want some tweet data. Let's just firstly show what's in here. So it's nothing too special, I think. It's just what are some tweets. And we basically have a username, and it does have a like count. Then we have something very beautiful. So just tweets that have been happened, how many likes, and who was the sender. Okay, but now I want to do some sentiment analysis on it. So I'm going to use a table extension. Yeah, I went quite fast. That's always a risk. Dragging this one just to the main screen will open up this screen. So let me pause a little. Then what you're basically doing is, this was the table that I was just showing of what was in the file. And I'm basically going to say that this is my input. So this is my input file. And now what I can do is I can basically run a script against this input file, and there will be an output table, and that output table can just be used like any other table in Tableau again. So let's see if I can do so. And now I do look prepared, so that's the beauty. Yeah, I do. Yeah, this is a Python script. I'm not going to go through it line by line, but basically what it's going to do is it's going to create a data frame, do some cleaning of the words, make sure that the stop words and such are out of there, and then just do a sentiment scoring on the words. So not on the sentences, just on the words. It's a very simplistic algorithm, basically. Let's see if it works. So what it does now is, and that's why I started the terminal earlier, it's going to run against my local Python engine, because Tableau does not come with a Python engine. So that's something that you still have to run besides Tableau yourself. And that should give me an output table. And here we can see that it has words, it has counts of how many times it occurs, and it does have a sentiment. And then the moment I actually update now, I can see what's the output. And that of course brings me to, now I could do something different, and yeah, I'm not interested in those. So let's just pick the words. Let's just pick the count and make this one a sum. And I'm just going to say, okay, this is the amount of words that basically happens and the occurrence of it. So I can see that online was the most of it. And this is tweets. I guess it's 1,000 tweets around Tableau conference, but I have to check. And if I add the color, then of course I have to change it because it thinks that negative should be positive. So I'm not too happy about it. So let's just change the colors a little easier so that we can actually read it. And then we can see that, yeah, let's just look at the negative words by adding a filter to it and just say, I'm only interested in negative now. And then we can see very interesting word choices and how often it occurred. But of course, the same applies for positive. And yeah, it's just a way of working with separate languages and creating Tableau tables out of it, because this is just, it's a simple script, but you can do more advanced stuff. So it does come into interesting places. I've created a dashboard myself that basically just picks data from the internet by using Python, which is quite neat, because then you don't have to use the web connector for it to start working like that. Yeah, I already did this one. So, and then it's the last quarter already. So for the ones who are already tired of hearing me speak, it's 5 minutes left. So you're lucky. Yeah, 2020.4, I think we're seeing an interesting direction. That's why I left this in here. Tableau Actions extension. I know that not everyone is a Salesforce customer yet, or at least that's my assumption, because basically we're Tableau lovers here. But Tableau, of course, has been acquired by Salesforce in 2018. And all these years, it didn't really have any synergy. And right now that's more and more coming. And one of it is actually the Tableau Actions extension, where you can use it to basically have, sort of, it's not a write back scenario, but it is a scenario in which your Tableau is not your endpoint for insights anymore. You can also start actions from it in your Salesforce environment. Then we have the image role. The image role is pretty easy. And I really like what's happening here. So it will play again. So if you pay attention to the book cover image, then you can quickly see what's the role of this functionality. There were already options, of course, to have a URL where you can have a separate dashboard action that will show you the image, but having it like this function in a table, that was not possible yet. And now you can easily just say that a certain field is a URL and it will try to retrieve the image from those URLs. And that can definitely help with creating interesting workbooks, is my opinion. Change data source per seat. Yeah, this is another interesting direction. In this direction, we see that there's a lot of modularity coming. I really like this fact because that was always a challenge for me, that a lot of things were actually changeable on too high of a level where it impacted too much of it, whereas I wanted to have the granular control of the lowest level as well. So yeah, and this one I couldn't miss because it's very easy. But if you weren't aware, you can select multi-tabs now so that you can rearrange them faster. Yeah, just an easy quality of life, and this one as well, but we're going to skip those. So yeah, that was in a really short time some of the features that I think you shouldn't have missed, and hopefully also give some context of why they're important in what the direction of the product is actually going to do. Any questions? Okay, I just heard from the experts in the room. The script is run on extract level, so it's just going to run first, and then basically you have your visualization part. So for the users using the report, they won't notice too much. The data loading part is of course extended by the part that is actually in there. And the reason why it's also in Tableau desktop and not just in Tableau prep is because Tableau prep is still a part of the data management add-on, or no, partly, I should say. If you want to industrialize that solution, it is, yeah.
Now, there's something that's quite powerful about that. With the table, since you can now actually create relationships with other tables, you need them together.
Yeah.
Waited for it for so long to have this kind of connection with the tapping into data science a little bit.
With priority, you have to incorporate formulas, for example.
Yeah. Finally, because it was such pain in the butt, the top five, top five connecting all the time now. Yeah. Yeah. More questions? Go ahead.
I am not aware of any plans.
You're from Salesforce. Yes.
Probably.
There's all these people. Actually, for people who create that long, that's like them, because you can create so much more interactivity, solve issues in the things that we're not able to do before. If you care about data storytelling, you can really now control what the user see at each point of your data. That changed a lot. Like everyone that is in the creator people of DevOps love that. Yeah, I think. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the session today. And we are going to share the recording if you did miss some part of it later. So look out for the link. But other than that, thank you very much and have a nice weekend. No, it's not weekend.
No, not
Evening.
yet, not yet. Week still.
Evening. Thank you very much, Alina, for joining from London.
Bye, Alina.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Enjoy the quiz.
So to keep the ball rolling,